Hello, everyone. I'm Allison, and welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Survivor 39, Island of the Idols. Tonight, as always, with me, I have Tyler and Deb, and two people went home tonight.
Yeah, we have a lot to unpack here. I feel like it was like another double episode tonight, given like how much went down. But first, like, let's start off with just this twist in general and talking about it. Did you guys like how they did this?
It was interesting.
I did. I liked splitting them up into, but the only thing I didn't really like about it was how Aaron, who was eliminated first, got to sit in on the second tribal council. I don't really think
he should.
Well, I don't.
Well, he's on the
jury.
jury.
Yeah, well, Missy's
as soon as you get voted out, you're
Missy's on the jury too, but she didn't get to see their tribal council.
Well, that's the perk of
jury
winning. Like that is like the big thing that they were playing for. Wait, what did you say?
That's my point, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, well,
she wasn't technically jury as of yet because she hadn't been voted out.
Yeah, sure. No, I really like this twist, and I'm glad that it was like a random draw. I really liked how they kind of blindsided all of them tonight by saying like, we are splitting up the tribes. Like, you guys aren't even going back to camp together. Like, you have no time to get your shit together, figure out a game plan before everybody splits, because like past seasons when they've done this, usually everybody still goes to the same camps, so everybody's kind of in on what's going on and everything. But it made for some really good reactions tonight. Of course, we saw Elizabeth just like in total shock that Aaron went home tonight, and she has no idea how that happened, and it's all going to be hearsay.
Yeah, this twist totally throws a wrench in the works. Everybody thought they had their vote. They were going to throw out Karishma, and she was the easy vote, and it totally threw a wrench in the works. And can we talk about what big balls Karishma developed by finding an idol?
Yeah.
Like, really, really brazen.
Yeah, I feel like this was Karishma's wake-up party tonight.
Yeah, 2 idols were found tonight. Neither one of them were used during tribal council, and they didn't need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't even use it, which was shocking, because I really thought that she was going to use it just to be safe.
Yeah. Wait, who found the other idol? So Karishma had one, and who else?
Wait a minute.
It was just her, right?
No.
I'm thinking about Janet last week. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Sorry, so that's the idol that Karishma found was Janet's rehidden, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to start off with Pokemon's comment here because I totally agree. Dean is so freaking hot. I stand him so hard.
Where was my comment tonight? I was waiting for it. I didn't get that text.
I mean, I always really love like the circle spinning challenge because it really shows off those biceps and that chest like very, very well for whoever's left in the game. So yeah, everybody was looking pretty good tonight as usual. But I see that like with the preview coming up next week, and I do want to talk about this. We usually don't talk about the preview too much, but they're saying like a goat army is assembling. And, we've talked about this, like the danger of leaving in too many goats for too long. We saw Dean list Nora, of course, like Karishma. Rob said himself tonight, Karishma is a goat. Nobody's taking her out. God, how many goats can you have in one season? And when does it start to become like a huge threat to, maybe taking a spot for you at the end?
I don't know, but you did see for next week, your hot guy said goats assemble.
Yeah.
Does he feel like he's a goat?
I don't think so. And I don't think that Dean is a goat. I think that his case would be a little harder to pitch compared to somebody, I don't know, say like Tommy, for instance. But I think that he still has some winner's equity here. I don't think it's happening. I think I was really hoping Tommy was voted out tonight just because he is like so clearly like the winner, in my opinion. Very
strong.
Yeah, I wanted to see him go.
Can I show something real quick?
Sure.
During the ball spinning challenge, something cute happened.
Oh, Jesus. I saw this on Instagram.
Oh, would you just stop it? Why don't you just like it? Finley was watching the ball challenge. I just want to show
Aw.
everybody. Watch. Hold on. That was his impression of Tyler. But watch. Watch his little head. Watch. He's just. But at the very end, a ball flies up and he looks up and looks behind him like, where'd it go? Wait, hold on. It's coming up. Wait, there he goes. Wait, where'd it go? It's almost over, I promise. Hold on.
All right.
Oh, wait, there he goes. Here he goes.
As riveting as that
There he
is to talk about,
Oh, it's cute.
There he goes. See?
Where's the ball? Finley's looking a little big boned.
He's a fat.
No, we're not saying that the F word. He looks big boned.
Yes.
Looks pleasingly plump.
He kept me interested in the show tonight because I have to say that I guess that we're just going to sweep things under the rug and act like they never happened.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I fully expected there to be like another incident and Dan goes home tonight. I think that's what everybody was kind of thinking. So I was surprised to see, and especially with all the backlash that production has gotten this past week, I fully expected there to be like a taped message from Jeff, like starting out the show by like apologizing and maybe giving like a resource for people that have been through such situations, but no, nothing. And we saw Dan playing the game, strategizing with Janet, and everything seems all hunky-dory. What did you guys think about that?
I was kind of surprised that what Missy had done last week by denying that anything happened and then trying to pull the race card to not vote her out. That was a little surprising.
Yeah, I thought that it was a little out of place for her to mention that. I don't know if maybe she was like thinking, she was going home, but based on like how her reaction was, like she really got blindsided there. It did feel a little out of place, and I understand.
Wait a minute,
like,
what did I miss? What do you mean she pulled the race card? What are you talking about?
So when right before the votes were read, Missy was like, Jeff, I love you, but you didn't mention the fact that two minorities, like two people of color, won both immunities last week. And like, yes, that is a huge victory, but also like Jeff is like a straight white male, like is that really appropriate for him to say, congratulations, two people of color won immunity? I don't know. That's just an awkward
it was just out of place.
Say. Like somebody else should have mentioned it during Tribal last week. I'm not sure Jeff really should have said anything, but I'm glad that he spun it in such a way that he was like, thank you, Missy. Thank you for bringing this up. Like, once again, like this season is just full of like all of these topics that are transcending what is the game. And, the fact that people have to write people's names on parchment right after talking about something like this is again, really weird and really out of place. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was really taken off guard with that comment. Because, especially because of what happened last week.
But with Aaron voted out and with Missy voted out, it seems like this jury is looking like the pre-jury of Big Brother 21. It's really cringy.
But both of them were amazing threats. Like
absolutely, yeah.
They both could win the game. They were huge threats.
Yeah. And we certainly saw like the reasons for why both of them went. I want to talk about Missy first because I think her exit is a little bit more interesting. Like for me, like Aaron is just pretty straightforward. He's the big threat. Got to take him out. That's pretty much it in my opinion. But we saw Missy really mishandling Karishma tonight.
Yeah, that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I like that Karishma, like she brought it back to age. She's like, you're this like little 24-year-old. I have 13 years of experience on you, Missy. And I don't know. I just and of course we saw Elaine like a swoop in there, and she's like, this is how you build relationships with people. This is how you build trust. Like I'm recognizing that Karishma just needs a little bit more encouragement than the average person does. So Missy talking at her instead of talking to her with her. That's just like, that is classic, like mishandling a person in Survivor or Big Brother. And that's how people lose the game.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if you don't have anything to do with me and talk crap about me and you're just rude to me 24/7, don't come to me and ask me to help you get somebody out, because the minute you start talking at me, I'm not going to hear it. So I understood. At first I was like, Karishma, just listen. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Missy hasn't been there for you. She's using you.
Yeah.
And
Right,
that
exactly.
swam up and bit her on the ass, because guess what? Karishma went and told Tommy and got that whole ball rolling. And I have to say, why the hell did Elaine tell what's her name, Missy, that she was the vote? Of course she was the vote. Who did you think that third vote was?
Right. Well, I have a lot of problems with this, and like this is definitely a big discussion too. Missy had a lot of time to, after she's voted out, she asks like, who was it? She has this one-on-one conversation with Elaine. She has this one-on-one conversation with Elizabeth and says like, take her out for me, like take her out in this game.
Should that have been allowed?
That I completely agree, Deb. I don't think that that's allowed, or I don't think it should be allowed. Jeff,
No, you're out.
Jeff let that go on way too long, in my opinion. He ultimately shut her down. He was like, all right, Missy, time to go. But the fact that like she's still having influence on the game, even just a little bit, like once she's voted out, that should not be like, once you are voted out, you should not be able to say anything. You have to pick up your torch, whether it's yours or somebody else's on accident, take it over to Jeff. And that's it. Like you are voted out of this game. You
should not have any more influence.
No, I really didn't like that at all.
I didn't like it at all. And I didn't like Elaine telling her she was the vote. I thought that was really stupid.
Why?
I think that was a little bit of jury management. She said like, Elaine did a good job where she was like, it was all out of love. Like it was me. But it's all out of respect for you and how strong of a player you are. But again, like I don't think that should have been said either. She can easily say that in the next tribal once Missy is sitting on the other side.
Tribal council.
Yes, exactly.
Final.
Yeah.
That's part of your resume. Just shut up and put it on your resume. And if you get to the end, then you utilize it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had it in all caps. I said, this should not be allowed, because I was really, really angry that was happening.
Yeah.
Missy to Kentucky 95 said, Missy to Elizabeth to kill Elaine slowly. And what did she say? Diabolically and mental or something. She was going on about it. Yeah.
Methodically, I think she said.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, wow.
Yeah. And of course, like, I'm glad that we didn't get an IOI segment tonight. I'm glad that we just got like Rob and Sandra's snarky remarks.
They're so good.
Yeah. Rob said that Aaron was going home tonight, and he did. And I love how he said, "Look at Dean rolling up his shirt to show his muscles again."
You were the first person I thought of. I was like, Tyler's blowing his wad right now.
Ew, no, that is gross.
But you are. What is this? Can I say something real quick? What is this super dry on your shirt?
That is a brand of hoodies.
Super dry. Okay.
You complain no matter what I wear. If I'm wearing like a tank top, you complain.
I was expecting you to wear just roll your sleeves up tonight like your beefcake.
Oh yeah. Well, my name's not Dean. I'm not on that level yet. So
okay.
Yes, you are, Tyler.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Jesus.
You're a little geek cake. You're a little geek cake.
No, I just took a hit class tonight before Survivor, and I almost like puked and like passed out. So I am not on Dean level yet. Pokemon says Dean flexing, loved it. Yeah, so I'm not the only one. Thank you, Pokemon, as always.
So what about Jamal's exit? I'm sorry, Aaron's exit.
Yeah, I think it was pretty easy. I think that they made it seem a little bit more complex of a decision, a little bit more than, how like production likes to make it seem as like, oh, who's going home? Who's going to be blindsided as much as they can. But to me, it seemed pretty straightforward. I did like from Dean, however, how he said like, maybe there is some reason to keep Aaron in this game. Like maybe him as like a meat shield is good for my longevity in this game. And I liked that he was thinking in that way, because I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you kind of read Aaron's body language
Mhm.
when the second tribe was coming in to tribal.
Yeah.
It seemed as if he was humiliated.
Yes, I felt that too.
Did you feel that? Yeah, he just
Yeah.
as if he was totally humiliated sitting there and
See,
didn't see him.
I just have an issue with, and I know y'all don't agree with me, that he sat on the jury and watched the second tribal council, and that's fine. He is part of the jury, but he still was involved in that vote, so he knows what happened. So why is, I don't know. Because Missy, I don't know, didn't get to see that tribal council. So she's
But
not
she
going to
wasn't-
know what happened.
But she wasn't voted out yet.
So that was part of the reward, or the reward of like why.
Okay,
That's
who
why
won
like
first?
everybody was so upset at Nora for
Okay.
jumping off. You know, not only did they win peanut butter jelly, but they won access to information going
Okay,
into their tribal.
That must have been during my pee break. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
Right.
totally fine. But yeah, like
Yeah.
how stupid was Nora to
I don't know. Y'all too busy
Oh, I
making
know.
videos of Finley watching those balls spin.
Oh yeah.
I think that she was just so excited that she won. She didn't even realize that jumping down killed their chances
I
of
think so,
getting
too.
the PSA and the advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So.
have some people saying the same thing. The reward was to know
Okay.
who was voted out. Yeah.
Duly
so-
noted.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat. Thomas the Talker says, do you think there will be an all-women Final Five? I don't think so. I think Tommy will be there. I think there's a good chance that Dean will be there as well. I really think that maybe like Elizabeth is next or Dan. I think one of those two is probably on the chopping block next.
Yeah, Elizabeth is kind of running out of allies.
I thought she was going home tonight. I really did. I thought it was going to be Dan, and I thought it was going to be Elizabeth.
She looked like someone shot her in the butthole when Missy's name was right. I mean, she was like, she literally looked like someone shot. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
love
that's what
Blind
happens
Side,
when
though. I
you
love it.
when you put all your eggs in one basket, like one alliance, one group of people. You know, now that Elizabeth has both Missy and Aaron taken out in one night, you know, where does she go from here? Because clearly she can't trust Elaine anymore moving forward. So does Elizabeth kind of team up with Janet? Does she go with Lauren and Tommy, or is she just kind of ostracized and she's taken out, and the goats get to move even further closer to the tribal?
Do you think the only reason why Elaine was safe tonight was because she won immunity?
Her name wasn't up at all.
Yeah, I think that that's really hard to say. I think that it probably should have been Karishma tonight as like an easy vote if they wanted to do that. But I think if well, I don't know who else would have. Who was?
I don't know.
It
I
was
would never
Misty.
write down Karishma's name.
I would write
No,
that.
yeah.
It's nobody. A rat flew in her face and took a nap in
Oh,
her mouth
God.
tonight, and nobody gave a shit. Here we go again. She's got a rat in her mouth. Oh my God! There's a fucking rat. It's a rat. Help!
Who had the rat in their mouth?
It's fine. You're okay. It was Karishma. She said
It was
went in her
Karishma that
mouth.
had the rat?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
nobody cares. I feel
No.
so bad.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
She's up crying all night. She had a rat in her face. You're
Yeah, I
lucky
would
that
cry
if
if I had a
been
rat in my
me,
face.
My
So-
ass would be climbing up a tree like Mowgli and sleeping in it.
So in that segment, though, I really appreciated Nora. Sorry, my heater is so loud. I'm so sorry.
We can't hear it.
You can't hear that?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so Nora, of course, she's like talking all this shit about Karishma in the confessional. She's like, she's lazy. She acts like she's like an old woman who can't do anything. But instead of just bitching in the confessional, she actually goes up to Karishma and says, you know, why don't you go get some coconuts around camp? And what does she do? She goes and does it. So I there's like little moments every episode that I'm finding myself rooting for Nora and the things that she does. Like she's not just like a one-dimensional, like batshit crazy person.
But she sends Karishma out to go look for coconuts. And what does Karishma do?
Yeah.
She finds an idol.
That's
So-
very true.
Was it really a good idea to send her out?
Yeah.
Well, she called her ass out in front of everybody right after that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
She's not a Debbie.
That's actually a really good comparison. Like, in all seriousness, no, I feel like she was probably cast to be a Debbie type of role. But yeah, no, as soon as Karishma came back an hour later with 2 coconuts in her hand, she's like,
And
you were
faking
gone for an
illness.
hour. Like, what were you doing? Yeah. And she just doesn't care. Like, she's willing to say that in front of everybody and kind of paint a target on somebody's back.
Pointing out that I was gone for an hour. Maybe I was trying to take an aqua dump, Nora. Why do you care? You told me to
I
get
feel
up.
like I feel like Sandra would do something similar. Like, I could see her in Heroes versus Villains, like telling Russell, like, your ass was gone for 1 hour and you came back with 2 coconuts. Where's your idol?
Yeah, she had 2. She was all that. You've only got 2 coconuts. Where you been for an hour? Took me 30 minutes to pick up each one. These bitches are heavy.
I only have 2 hands. I can only carry 2 coconuts.
I'm a lazy 8-year-old woman. What do you want? You're lucky I have 2. Jeez.
So I also want to bring up the bracket because Kim took a mighty blow tonight, losing Missy and Aaron.
Oh, wow.
So things are developing really interesting here. Allison, ultimately, I think that you have the winner here. But I think that Elaine is really somebody to start seriously looking at as the winner of this game as well.
I don't know. She keeps talking like she does. It was me. I did it.
I want a redneck game. Allison, have you played that game since it's a redneck game?
What is it? First of all, I'm not a redneck. You Yankee. Okay.
That's fair.
I'm not a redneck at all. But what was the game? I might have heard of it.
The spinning circle game. Elaine's like,
no.
She's like, I can't win like an immunity challenge, like if it's like a physical thing against all these physical beasts, but give me a redneck game and I can win it. And I was like, I can't wait to ask Allison this question.
Now, if it was a game of cornhole, then I would definitely have won that.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Redneck game. But no, I really think that Elaine is someone to seriously start looking at as a contender for the winner. Of course, we saw her in a really positive light, handling Karishma perfectly. She realized that the way to win people over in Survivor is these genuine connections instead of mishandling people the way that Missy did. And of course, it worked in her favor tonight.
Everything is jury management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in like a Tommy, Elaine, final 2, let's say like one of the goats is there too. Who do you think wins, Elaine or Tommy?
Oh, that would be, I would say Tommy.
At the end, I would say Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I don't have really a problem with anyone that's left besides Dan Epstein. Besides him, I don't really have a problem with anyone that's left. Like, can you bring that list back up?
The bracket?
Yeah, bring the bracket back up.
I mean, I wouldn't vote for Nora. I wouldn't vote for Karishma in the end.
But see, wouldn't have a problem though if they made it to the final 2 or 3. I mean,
I wouldn't vote for Elizabeth either.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't vote for her. Definitely not.
She's been such a follower this entire game.
I just really like Janet and I love Tommy and I don't know. I mean,
what about Lauren?
I like Lauren too.
I wouldn't vote for her as a winner.
Yeah, I see Lauren to Tommy as I see like Elizabeth to Aaron and Missy. Just somebody who's kind of like blindly following somebody to the end.
Yeah.
And of course, we see in the preview for next week, like Lauren and Tommy are like shaking hands and like going hee 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 together. So like they're not going anywhere in terms of like a pair in this game. But I really don't. I really struggle to think of anything that Lauren has done specifically on her own without Tommy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to,
definitely has not spearheaded anything on her own.
Yeah. And of course, like, how does Janet get to the end from here? Like, I feel like her back is up against the wall too. I just feel like there's all these, there's these like leftover like pawns. And I don't mean that in like a Big Brother way. I just mean it in like a chess way. Like, where does just Janet go? Where does just Karishma go? Where does Justine go? Like, nobody's like, there's like little like pockets of like two people working together, but there's like all of these people, Nora, like just all these wild cards of people that really don't have a place with anybody in the game. Like, who is Nora's number one? Who is Dean's number one? Who is Karishma's number one?
Right.
Who is Janet's number one? Like, I feel like we're not getting told.
Well, she and Dan kind of shook it out on the beach tonight.
That's true. What did you guys think about that?
I cringed.
I just think that what, Janet did last week for the girls, I don't know. I'm still having issues with last week's episode and the fact that Dan is still there. And I just really kind of expected more out of this episode. I expected to see maybe something done, but that's, nothing was done. Okay. Tyler, you made a comment at the end of our sequester interview Monday night, and I was wondering if you would possibly if you could repeat what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we got a question right here that kind of echoes like what. Sorry to block your face, Deb. So, what kind of message is sent if Dan makes it to the final and wins with what happened? So, of course, at the end of our sequester interview, I just talked about Survivor for a few minutes because I had a few days to really think about it a little bit more and listen to all the amazing coverage that's going on the podcast this week. Josh Wigler just recently announced that he's no longer covering Survivor because of this, which is a huge, huge loss for the Survivor community. But my thing is like, Dan should be ejected from the game. For a multitude of reasons, like of course the number one being how he's treated these women, but it's just such a bad look on production for CBS and Survivor, especially with all this like Les Moonves stuff that like just happened, right? For them to keep Dan in the game. So, and here are like the possible outcomes of the season by keeping Dan in. He either gets to the end and is like a goat at the end, which then the headline is Dan who like touches women inappropriately gets to the end of Survivor. Dan could win the season, and then the title is like this Harvey Weinstein type of character wins Survivor. Like, what does that say about the Me Too movement? Of course, like what if they take him out of the game and put him in Ponderosa? Well, then they're putting him with Kelly, which is also a really bad look, considering like Kelly is the one that was pretty like the most vocal to production about feeling uncomfortable. There was no kind of message by Jeff at the beginning saying like, this handles some really tough topics for people that might be triggering about consent. There was no message at the end that said like, if you are like a victim of abuse, like here's like a number hotline you could call. There was none of that either. And then this week they just kind of reinforce their actions by doing nothing. And doing nothing is exactly how people like Dan get away with these type of things and continue this type of behavior without learning from it and developing as a human being. And, they got a talk as a group and Dan got one separately. And then later in that tribal, he was touching Nora, using it as example of what he thought he was doing. And by him saying, if you feel that way, that is totally invalidating the victim and how they feel and the experience that you put them through. It's saying that he hasn't learned a damn thing. And it's because he's had no real consequences for these actions up until probably this week on social media. That's probably the first time he's had like real actual consequences for what's happened. And we've seen a lot of apologies on Twitter from Aaron, from Missy, from Elizabeth. And I feel like too much attention is being put on them and how they chose to use it as a game move instead. And there's not enough attention being put on Dan, who is the perpetrator of all of this. And I feel like that should never be lost or put lower on the totem pole in terms of who people are pointing their anger towards. And of course, he is the one person on social media who has not said anything about this at all. His Twitter is private. It's remained private. He hasn't said anything. And Jeff Probst has not said anything on Twitter, and it's so disappointing. And I don't know. It's really disappointing. I expected them to change their tone a little bit this week, and they didn't at all. I fear
that now he's going to be seen as a GOAT, and
yeah,
which is kind of rewarding him for his behavior. And getting to the end, he's going to get a bigger paycheck, and that kind of really bothers me to think.
Yeah. Also, one other thing, CBS did not have any exit interview coverage from Kelly. They let Jamal have an exit interview, but Kelly has not had one. We don't know if that's choice by CBS or if Kelly didn't want to say anything, but I feel like it was by CBS, considering she's been very active on Instagram about like reading Reddit, responding to people on Twitter, saying that thank you for all the support she's getting and everything. So the fact that like her voice is like literally being silenced, not only like while she's like in jury sitting across from this conversation happening about her, but also online later when everybody else has had the chance to weigh in with their experience of Survivor in the show. And this is her experience. This is what happened to her. And the fact that like CBS has silenced her from being able to speak out about it afterwards is just really sickening to me.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I was not excited about tonight's episode. I had no feelings about it. I'm just kind of on autopilot right now. It just bothers me. I'm one of the people that it's kind of triggered a little bit. And every time that man's face pops up on the screen, it's gross. It just pisses me off. And it just reminds me of every person that's ever violated me or touched me inappropriately. Yeah. And I don't fucking like it. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they should address it every single episode or whatever, but it's just jolting. I mean, I just find it kind of amusing that he asked Karishma if she wanted to go in the jungle with him with an axe to cut some trees down. I would have been the first one to go, oh, I'll go in the jungle with you with an axe.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee all of you will be coming back.
Yeah. I want to point out a mistake I just said. Kelly's interview is out on EW, but they're not letting her do any exit coverage with Rob Has a Podcast. Which is like the podcast that has been the most helpful, the most sincere about opening up these dialogues and conversations. And like his coverage this week has just been very hard to get through all of it, very triggering, but very important for the conversation. And I am so proud of him and his voice in particular this week. I mean, and somebody pointed out on Reddit, this isn't the first time that Jeff and Survivor have not handled this correctly. Like, I don't know if you guys remember in All Stars when Richard like rubbed his naked body all over Sue, and do you remember that?
No.
So, and she said like at that challenge, like, he assaulted me, he violated me, I feel spent from this game, I can't continue. And Sue left, she quit right then and there, and they kept Rich in the game. He had to be voted out. He wasn't ejected, he wasn't removed. And people and people can say that was a different time back then, but what's the excuse now? Not that was an excuse back then, but you know what I mean. Like, it's what's the reasoning now for not taking action for this?
I know, because every week that he skates by, it's just like an insult every damn week.
An insult to Kelly on jury, who has to watch that every week, and fear like, oh gosh, is this the week he's like, or not week, but like, is this the day that he's like joining me and Ponderosa, and then I have to like fear for, it doesn't matter who is there with her. Like, it doesn't matter that Aaron's there. It doesn't matter that Jamal's there.
No, it doesn't matter.
Predators can inject themselves into like any situation and get past people. So
I want to read.
And the thing is that he doesn't even have to look at her or speak to her. It's just his mere presence of being the offender in her presence.
Yeah.
Which would make her uncomfortable, and it's not fair to her.
Yeah. So, this isn't changing like my opinion about covering Survivor. Like I'm still doing this with you guys, because ultimately, like, it's frustrating that that action hasn't been taken yet. But in that same vein, like, action could still be taken, and it's not correcting a wrong. But there could be a better outcome to the situation that we don't know yet. So fingers crossed that like something happens. There was rumors that he was getting medevaced this week, and that just would have pissed me off that like that's what takes him out instead of like an ejection or something from the game. And Pokemon says in the chat, Rich got voted out, then Sue quit the next day. Sorry, that's my mind's like fuzzy on like this season was like season like 8 or something like so long ago.
I thought I had a screenshot, but I don't know what happened to it, and I don't have time to sit here and dig around for it. But I just wanted to say, we've had a lot of positive comments about last week's show.
Yeah.
Some people have reached out and said thank you, personally, privately reached out to me and thanked me for opening up and for all of us sharing, and it does help somewhat. I'm not going to mention this person's name, but somebody made a comment on our show and then deleted it because they're chicken shit, about how basically Kelly should have spoken up, and instead of turning it into a fake Me Too movement, that this Me Too movement has gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
One of the first two episodes where she did confront him.
It was brought up in the first episode.
Yeah, it was.
Production heard it. I mean, it's just the fact that somebody had the balls to say fake move. This is fake.
Yeah. And ultimately, like, unfortunately, that is like some of the headlines that have came out of this past week on Survivor surrounding Missy and Elizabeth's actions. And that's the only field that like these people need, that people like Dan that say like, we're still talking about this.
Just for further notice, there's nothing I can't find on the internet. There's no one I can't find on the internet. So, I had some time and found this person that made these comments, and they look like someone who touches women inappropriately and doesn't get called out on it. So I'm not shocked that someone who pretty much the people that say this Me Too is fake and all this bullshit, I'm sorry, don't bother. Don't watch this show. I don't want your support.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yep.
Shame on you. Why didn't all these people come out years ago? Well, they didn't have the platform. They didn't have a leader. They didn't have someone to come out first. They were scared. If you've never been touched inappropriately, if you've never been raped, sexually assaulted, or fondled, molested, or anything, you are not going to understand. So you don't have that right to tell us when is the appropriate time to stand up for ourselves. Just take a seat and be quiet and don't comment on my show.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
And God don't bless. Let the door hit you with a good Lord split you.
That's right.
Yeah. So now that we talked about that, I hope that sufficed to the person that reached out to you and said that we should talk about this again. And thank you to that person. He or she knows who they are. And I thank you for like just all the great response that we had to last week regarding like going there and talking about our own personal stories and seeing people in the chat open up about their own experiences, unfortunately. And hopefully this is a learning lesson, not only for Survivor, but everybody at CBS. Big Brother has certainly had their fair shares as well. And they've kind of swept it under the rug in the same way, unfortunately. So now that we have wrapped that up, where do we go from here this season in Survivor? Like Jeff said, it's weird to bring it back to the game after
Yeah,
talking
it's
about
like-
such personal things.
I
But
tried
where did we
to
go?
It's like I tried to get excited. Like this morning when I was drawing up everything for the show, I thought about a million jokes I could make for tonight's episode, and I just couldn't come up with one. And I basically said I have nothing jovial to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I'm going to feel. I'm not saying the season is ruined for me, but the
It
only
definitely
thing
tastes bad.
it tastes bad. Excuse me. And the only thing that really makes me laugh at this point is when Karishma has something stuck in her face or her mouth or is bleeding somewhere and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed. I love Karishma. I'm sorry. I just have never seen someone so it's just ignored. I mean,
It's amazing.
it's just amazing to me.
So I have maybe this is like a little conspiracy theory fan fiction stuff. But you know how in the preview for next week we see that Sandra gets like a hand injury from a chicken.
Yeah.
What if that leads to her being medevaced or leaving the edge of extinction early
Edge of
next
extinction?
season? Yeah, when she's playing on season 40.
Oh, you said Edge of Extinction. I didn't. Is that
Yeah.
what it's called next
Well,
season?
they're
No,
having
no, that
they're
was-
having Edge of Extinction again. But say she gets
Oh.
voted out and she's on Edge of Extinction. What if this hand injury? Because I feel like they're going right from season 39 to season 40 filming because they're there already, right?
No, she's tough. That little chicken just nipped at her. No, she's
Yeah.
not. Sandra's not getting medevac.
That chicken
It
would
ain't
have to
happening.
bite her goddamn hand off for her
Yeah,
to leave.
yeah, that's not happening. I
Yeah.
don't think.
She'd have to have a bloody stub before.
Yeah, and she'd still try to play.
Also, I previously reported maybe a couple months ago that next season is going to be 90-minute episodes. That is no longer true. It's back to 60 minutes.
Oh, thank Jesus.
So, that's a little disappointing considering there is Edge of Extinction. But
Wait a minute, hold on. Where's this Edge of Extinction coming from? What am
that's
I
going to
look-
be on next season again.
Okay, so Edge of Extinction was the shit show we just covered where Chris won.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they're doing that again with all the winners?
All the winners. Yeah.
Oh, hell. What?
They have an amazing, they finally do an all winner season and then
I
they put
can't
Edge of
just.
Extinction on.
I'm just.
I think that their thought process there is say Boston Rob or Sandra or Tony or one of the big guns leaves super early. How can we milk them being on our screen for the rest of the season still?
Yeah. I
Say
can understand
the
that.
final three is Michelle, Nick, and Danny.
So Sandra can pull a Chris. You know what? I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it, Thomas.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah. She'd
the
be like, you
queen
know what?
stays
I don't care.
queen."
I'll make the fire. I win immunity, but I'm gonna give it to somebody else, and I'll make fire. If Chris Underwood can do it, shit, I'll do it too. I would love that.
Can I give a little props to the chat tonight? We've got a lot of supporters in the chat, and they've really showed us a lot of support over the last week. And I just wanted to kind of look at some of these.
Yeah, we have a lot of engagement in the chat tonight.
Yeah, where is it? Where is it? Oh, I can't find it. I'm just scrolling. They were telling us they love us.
There's
and-
also lots of rumors that Tony wins next season, but I don't find any of them true. There's so many rumors going around, and I don't believe any of them because
Who is it?
there's no way Tony is winning next season. I'm sorry. He's going to be first boot again.
Is that the guy that covered himself up in sand and was?
Yeah, his spy shack. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
then
spy
he was
shack.
voted
Spy
out
shack.
second. He was voted out second in Game Changers because everybody thinks Tony is this amazing player, but take away Trish, who was helping him out and calming him down all season, and then you get sloppy gameplay. I think Tony is one of the most overrated Survivor players ever, ever, ever.
Tyler, where are we at so far this week with Edgic?
Tommy is
Still?
very clearly the winner in terms of Edgic's feelings on this. Janet is creeping up behind him a little bit, but it's a horse and a turtles race, and if that makes any sense.
Who picked Tommy as a winner?
You did.
Edgic.
Yeah. All right.
It'll be the second time I picked a winner.
Yeah, everybody, in case you haven't heard it a million times on here, Allison picked the winner of Ghost Island, who only really won by a tiebreaker, so that's kind of like a half victory.
You know, I can't get any credit.
No.
This guy could have played an immaculate game, could have done everything right, played exactly the F off. He could have played exactly the way Tyler wanted, exactly. And it wouldn't mean a hill of beans because Allison picked him. Yes. That's how I feel inside. That's how Tyler feels when I go on my rants.
And I'm just laughing all the way to the bank when Tommy loses the season. Of course, like Tommy could be like the fallen angels. So remember last season, like Rick Devens had this like huge positive edit, and then he was taken out in fire making. That very well could happen. Peridium just made a video today about the fallen angels edit on Survivor, and could be Tommy this year.
You never know.
Well, I just want to say I love everyone in the chat. Joseph, Thomas,
we got some good people.
Pokemon, Sarah Wynn, everybody who's just been amazing tonight. Say Sarah Wynn, 985, Julia Miku. I'm sorry if I'm saying Mars as always. That's my number one. Carlito's Way 277. Kevin Lee is new. I haven't seen you before, Kevin. Welcome. And if you've been here before, I apologize. Everybody, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. This isn't easy to do
Wait, one last thing. Thomas the Talker says, do you think Winter Big Brother All-Stars is coming? Julia's really trolling us. So she posted on social media, her with like the Big Brother title card in the chair. And my first thought is, I can't wait for Big Brother to ruin this. Say there is an All-Star season, it's gonna be like 2 weeks long. They're gonna bring back Frankie Grande instead of like Danielle Donato.
He wants to shine like a Frankie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, make me vomit.
And we'll be talking here on this show about how Frankie Grande won a 2-week All-Star season, and that's probably going to be the last we'll ever see of Dan and Dr. Will.
2-week episode. Tyler's gonna come down with the flu. I just can't do this, guys.
The moment Frankie wins his like 5th head of household, like sorry, I can't talk.
Yeah, we won't be able to pull people on.
I have laryngitis. I'm so sorry.
I'll be doing it alone again.
Yeah. So that was my first thought. Is I can't wait for Big Brother production team to fuck this up because we know that they will.
There's
and to Julie Chen,
All-Stars. Go ahead.
And to Julie Chen, stop teasing us, girl. Stop teasing us.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like she did this like all during like October with like dressing up like past Big Brother house guests, and like I don't know, like I
give it up.
The people we want to see back, and not just me, the people we as like a Big Brother community, like Vanessa Rousseau, really good players like that.
She's pregnant.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. We're gonna get like James and like Davon and like I don't know.
No,
Frank.
Challenge.
No.
We'll get like Josh, Elaine or Elena. Like all these like fame whores who like are just like trash in the Big Brother community. And yeah, I'll say that. I don't care if I see them in person at the Big Brother premiere party. I really don't care. I can tell you stories about how shitty of a person Frankie Grande is from those parties. It makes me so mad. Do you want me to share?
Share one. Why not? We got time.
So this past year, Deb, you were with me. Frankie showed up and he saw like she's probably around like 16, but she was disabled. I think she had like Down syndrome or something, but he saw like all like he didn't say hi to anybody. He went like right up to her and he stayed with her, not to like talk to her, but like to take pictures of like people like taking pictures like on their phone of him like smiling with her. Like it was like it came off like a really fake like philanthropy type of moment, if that makes any sense. Like he knew that like people were gonna tweet online saying like, oh look, he's such a great person, look, he's doing this. But like the moment like people like were done with those pictures, like he didn't stay to like talk with her at all. He just
it was a photo op.
It was disgusting, and I really didn't like it. He didn't stay for the episode. He never does. The first year I covered it, where I met you, Deb, he showed up. I think it was like right before the show started. Did his press, took his pictures, and then told everybody, "Come back to my penthouse and party with me." But he didn't stay for the actual episode. Like, anybody that thinks that Frankie Grande gives a shit about the Big Brother community or where he came from or anything like that, I saw his ass on the subway one time, and he had like sunglasses and like a hood up like this. Like, he did not want anybody to know that he rode the subway like us peasants do, and it was
Oh
so
my God, that's so
Yes.
funny.
But yeah, I don't know if you felt
And
like,
why did you not call him out? Oh my God, it's Frankie.
Frankie Grande.
because I don't want to
Subway!
give him any attention. Like,
Yeah, but no, you're calling him out, embarrassing him that he's on the subway.
like
Frankie
Deb,
Grande on the subway. Can you imagine?
like, Deb, we've been at these parties together. You know that I don't talk to the people that I don't care for at all.
Neither do I.
Um,
You know what I do. You know there's certain people that they don't even exist. I just
Yeah.
won't suggest
So
them.
the people from Staten Island that were racist on Big Brother 15.
They
Gina Marie-
don't even
Right.
they don't even exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-mm. No, I have no time for negativity in my life.
Thomas Tucker says, I want a showdown of Tyler, Dan, Derek, Tyler, and Paul. Well, I'll tell you, Derek will be the first boot in that season because he's not a great Big Brother player like everybody thinks he is.
Okay. No.
I would definitely vote Derek out first.
Yeah.
So
He-
mean.
Any when we do have this shitty yeah, exactly, that's my face. When we do have this shitty like 2-week like all-star winter season, Derek will be the first boot, guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Derek is not coming back to freaking Big Brother. He has his own detective show on Indigestion Discovery. Just in Discovery. I can't
It's a
talk.
great way he would.
Investigation Discovery.
Indigestion.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
But really, in all seriousness, Allison,
Indigestion Discovery. I'm sorry.
okay.
I want to be on that show.
In all seriousness, though, I feel like Dan, Derek, and Will, all three have said like I would only come back if all three of us come back, because I feel like all three of them want to prove that like there's all this conversation like which of those three is like truly the best Big Brother player.
Dan,
Obviously, it's Dan.
obviously.
But I feel like all three of them would go back in a heartbeat if all three of them were there, if that makes any sense. Like, it's like a
Yeah.
package deal almost.
Well, because if it's only, let's say if it's only Will, he's got that huge target. So, and then
They need each other.
they
Which
need
is
each
so
other as
ironic.
meat shields. Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty poetic, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up for us for tonight. We're going pretty off topic now.
Now who's got ADD?
Yeah.
Wrong button.
Oh man.
Now you're ruining everything. You did. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
On that
Mhm.
note,
There you go.
I can't even remember her name. What was her name? Angela?
Grandma.
Angela.
Grandma.
Oh
Yeah.
God. No, Tyler and Angela will be back. They will be the Big Brother 20 representation instead of Caitlin Herman or Brett.
All right, I'm tired. Can we go wrap this
Yeah,
up?
let's go.
I think Deb has to poop.
Yeah, give me up.
Not this time.
Okay. You know what's going to be? Let's see, 500. I love the hell out. That's probably my favorite one I made. That's so good. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, we'll have a little more pep in our step next week. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how next episode of Survivor 39 Island of the Idols unfolds. You can find out by subscribing to my weekly meltdown on YouTube and click the little bell on the right and you can get notifications when we go live. You can also follow us on Instagram, my weekly meltdown. I'm on Twitter at Summers, SOMMERS 1977. You can follow Tyler at T Lyons on Twitter. Are you on Instagram or anything with that?
Yeah. Mhm.
Of course.
Yeah, he's on it.
Yeah.
And My Next Life Debbie on Twitter. And also, if you live up north, you Yankees, and you need a wedding photographer, go to scratchstudios.co.
Thank you, Allison.
Co, not
He the man.
com.co, because we have to
Yes.
be different.
Mhm.
No, it was because it was already taken. I tried to buy it.
Hey,
from the
wait,
person,
and it's
but
not
he-
even just wedding photography. I mean, he does
Engagements.
engagements and just like generally, like you want to go around New York City and get like really cool pictures, so you look really, hip.
I need some of those.
Yeah, he calls them lifestyle
I need
photos.
some lifestyle pictures, Tyler. Can you
Yes,
help me with
lifestyle
that?
photos.
I can do that for you.
He's gonna
Yeah.
he's finally gonna take a decent picture of me because I don't have any decent pictures. You
I
wanna
know
why?
Dean lives in New York City. He could use some lifestyle
Oh,
photos.
yes, he could.
Speaking of sequester coverage, if you're watching Sequester season 3, you can subscribe to Sequester Access on YouTube. Also, we will be covering the latest episode this Sunday evening at 9:15, 8:15 Central. And then Monday, hopefully Monday or Tuesday, I don't know which day yet, we will be interviewing the eliminated house guests. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that about wraps it up. Anything else?
I think that's it.
That's it.
I'm done. I got
All right. Bye,
nothing.
guys.
Deuces.
See you guys later.